Hello all. Welcome to AAA Wargaming. I'm your host, James E28, or more commonly known as an Amateur's Adventure, and I have another honour of doing a Masters interview. Except it's not in the Masters Open this time. I get to actually interview the players, and ironically, there's a lot of Silvernails, so I sort of bagsied them early, which was all good. So we are welcomed by the three Silvernails players. So it's a really strong showing this year. So we'll do a quick number of questions, and then we'll question them on their armies a little bit. So to introduce them all, we've got Dan Minto, uh, Artem
Konsti
Kahansky, and
and
Josh
Josh Burns.
Burns. Yeah, sorry. So Dan, Artem and Josh, welcome aboard. How do you feel?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good.
Cool. Hopefully everyone has not had a bad day at work, so we can really enjoy ourselves. So what I'll do is I'll very quickly go through each of your army, bring up a page of each of your armies. But what we'll do, we'll just go through a simple, quick bit of questions. Dan, as I think you are up first. Yes. So Dan, can you give us a bit of a description
Yep.
about yourself, where you play, what other armies you play, and your road to the Masters, which is pretty famous, to be fair.
I'm Dan. I'm from Newcastle. I play with the Durham Raiders crew, so I'll be like Matt, who's organising it, and a few of the other lads who I think are in the coming up for the Open and stuff. I don't, yeah. I play Sylvanov at the minute. It's the only army I have. I'm one of these. I play one army, and then when I get bored of it, I sell it and I do something else and do it like that. I've had Sylvan Elf since this very start of lockdown. I guess it was a bit of a lockdown project because it was relatively quick to paint with all the trees.
Quick to
Before
paint.
that, I played. Yeah, quick to paint if you go trees. Like I've gone. I mean, my whole list was pretty much trees originally, and I've just kind of added a few elves here and there as I've getting a bit bored of playing just trees. So initially it was quite a quick to paint army, and then I've added to it over the last 18 months or so. Before I started off playing Orcs and Goblins a number of years ago. I came into it with Orcs and Goblins from like Fantasy 8th edition. Had all right success. I didn't get to many tournaments, a few like top 3 places and team tournament victories. I think we did a couple at Scotland back in the day. And then I moved on to Dread Elves. I didn't really play much tournament wise with them. I think I maybe brought them to one Scotland tournament, maybe. Didn't play much. I still had my Orcs and Goblins at the time. I had my Dread Elves. So, and then I kind of had a bit of a lull, got rid of everything, and started again with the Sylvan Elves. And yeah, I'm sort of here.
It's quite interesting you say you've got a few 3s and 2s. So everyone sort of like thought you've come from nowhere, but actually you've got quite a gaming pedigree. Like I can dream
No,
of maybe top 5,
it's
maybe one day.
It's going to sound like I'm reaming them off, but I am actually sitting in my game room, so they're kind of in front of me. But we've got a few team tournament wins at most of them are from Scotland because, like I say, I don't get to many other places. I think I've got the last 2 singles at Scotland I've won, and I won a one back in 2019 because I'm looking at the trophy here. Yeah, so yeah, I've done all right at the Scotland events. But like I say, they're the only ones I really travel to because we go up as a bit of a group from Durham. So yeah, yeah, I just had yeah, that's about it really. It was a bit of a
And
we like the trip out as much as the game, and when we go up to Scotland, so it tends to be a one that we push for as a bit of a group. So
no, fair one. Yeah, and your road to Masters this time was pretty spectacular. I mean, you're certainly my dark horse, just because one, you play Sylvan Elves, and what is it? What did you go to the Scottish Championships expecting to win?
No, I never go expecting to win because I generally like I don't generally know how I'm going to do because I do I don't play very often. So I have kind of big gaps between one match to the other. Like for instance, until last a couple of weeks ago when we got a couple of games in over the Christmas period, I hadn't played since I left Scotland, which I believe was March. So I go into these tournaments very rusty, and the first game can be a big swing either way. I find that like my first game, I'm really rusty, and I either get a bit lucky and like get a decent draw, or I get unlucky and get pumped. So, while I think the last singles that I won, I think first game I got is it Mark Greensill? Is that
Yeah,
right?
Mark. Yeah.
In the first game, and obviously he's a very, very good player. And I got kind of pumped the first game, and then did like a mega submarine after that. But yeah, like someone like that which is probably going to happen at the Masters, obviously, because they're all very good players. The first game is probably the one I'm most concerned about because, like I say, I turn up to these tournaments very rusty. I find so.
That's fair.
But yeah,
I'm going to move on to your list now, which I absolutely love.
yeah,
I think you should put it on the forum just because the amount of shapeshifters you've got in there, they've got a bit of a flack in the update. And I thought
yeah.
for this, I thought I'd go to Artem and Josh just to hear your thoughts on this. So Artem first, what are your thoughts on Dan's list? Like bits you like, bits you think, bits you'd like to
Uh,
ask him questions on, or
Sorry, my English is still awful, so you will try to understand me. I will try to understand you.
better than my
So
Ukrainian.
I think it's, I think this list is really, really need good pairings. So it's not list for a single tournament, but with good luck, with good opponent, it could work. But I don't personally believe in shapeshifters. I guess they're still in bad positions. I can use them only as gardeners for sacred seeds. But even for this, Josh's idea is better. So I don't believe in them, but maybe I'm wrong. That's it.
I don't blame you. They're very Marmite on the forum. They're a love or hate thing. Everyone wants them to work, but can you make them? So I'd be very interested, Dan, if you can. Josh, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I feel like shapeshifters just don't have the damage output in the list. You've got Tree Fathers hide behind, so they can push up with them, but it kind of, makes it so people can kind of know where they're going to go anyway. If they're trying to hide from, because a lot of their defensive buffs got taken away from them, and it was never that hard to get a ward save or a regen before. So I think the list will do fine. Some people just mostly make mistakes against it first game. With people being a bit rusty or not having too many practice games against shapeshifters for a while. I think if they combo charge something, it could get interesting, especially with all of them having a very small frontage. But I think the magic in the list is a bit too light for my taste.
Okay. What is it? It's Rod of Battle and an adept with Book of Arcane Mastery. So
And
that's it.
lightning band braces.
So you got 5 spells. Okay. Yeah, no, fair one. Magic Light. I tell you what, Dan, I've used Double Tree Father, and I know I'm no expert, but I know I've chased Josh around the board with them once at least, giving him nightmares. Yeah, no, I think the number of combat threats. I think Craig Johnson said it. The number of combat threats you got there make it really, really interesting. So I think, yeah, I really like the list, and I really, really want it to work. So, yeah, Dan, I think. Have you looked at the lists and seen anyone you don't want to play?
I'll be honest, like no, because I have no idea what half this stuff is now because I'm kind of between Masters in March and prior to that, I probably didn't play for another like year break or something like that. And obviously in that, so if you take like the 2-year period with obviously the Masters in between, there's obviously been like a new KOE book. Basically, I'm up to like where I am is up to like where the Infernal Dwarf book came out, and after that, I'm just kind of winging it and looking at the game as it comes and sort of trying to work out what I need to do where. So to be honest, it would probably be for other people to tell me what's a bad matchup for mine. But generally, it's because everything's so changed so much in the last couple of years, especially a lot of the lists. Obviously, there's a lot of KOE which are very different to what they were. They've had a semi-new book. Yeah, so I'm not really sure who I want and who I don't want. But I guess we'll find out.
Maybe that gives you an advantage. Just you're not worried about anyone, so you're quite happy to go for everyone. So maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer to take it. I think sometimes you can overthink a game. Like I find it's one of them things you do on, especially for your first game. Like when you know who it is, you're like maybe you'll probably all be the same when you're traveling up in the car with friends or whatever. You're all talking about your matchup and what I can put against what, or what's going to be good against this, how the match will play out. But they never ever go the way that you have it all planned out in the car, the way you think it's going to go. So I prefer to just kind of, I guess, wing it is the phrase.
No,
and just sort of just take a bit of like initiative at the time, really, and try and put what you think is going to do best against what you're up against.
Well, it's done you no damage at all, seeing as you are at the Masters. So I'll try that for Bristol. I'm not going to look at the list. I'll just wing it and see what comes up on the day, and maybe I'll stop overthinking. So yeah.
I mean, I always build me lists with something like I try and cover my bases, if you like. Like I try and think if I come up against like lots of single big monsters, have I got something to deal with that? If I come up against big units, have I got something that can possibly deal with that? When I just try and go from there. I mean, I find it hard with elves. It's a little bit harder to cover all bases, I think, because everything's so expensive. But generally, that's the way I try and write a list and then kind of go for it.
No, I think that's really good. Well, Dan, thank you for this part of the episode. I don't worry, I've still got a wonderful question for you lot, for you all later at the end. But now it's on to Artem. So, Artem, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your route to the Masters.
Well, I don't know what to say about myself. I'm from Ukraine, but now I live in London. So I have nothing to do in UK, just play Night Edge and have my work. So I play Night Edge a lot in Warhol, like maybe like Josh, every tournament every month, but I have some team tournament abroad, like big Polish events, German events as well, and UTC, of course. So it's a big part of my life, so I try play a lot Night Edge, that's it.
Would it be better to ask you which tournaments you didn't attend this year in UK? Would that be a shorter list?
Yeah, it was Scotland. I should be there, but the war starts and I was not able to. And it was team tournaments.
Okay.
That's it.
No, that's a fair one. Did you have because I remember when you first, I think, was it your first tournament was the Masters Open last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because I remember looking at that list going, that's janky. And yeah, no, absolutely. You came second? You definitely podiumed. Yeah, no, that
it was
cool.
second.
I remember people looking at it going, that's a horrific list. What was it? The Mistwalker's Shapeshifter Blade
Yeah,
Dancers?
Mistwalker Shapeshifter with teleport. If you don't know how it works, it would be quite a surprise. But if you know how it works, it would be harder for me. So I stopped playing this.
So I think I'd seen it just before a couple of years ago. I saw it on a UB or something game, something online against a Beast Herd player, and I read the report. But as soon as I saw the list, I went, I know who this is. So actually, I felt quite comfortable if I got you. But I think a lot of people were just scared.
Yeah.
But now I think, have you stopped doing it because people have sort of started to get wise to the trick now? And
not really, because even if you know how it works, you still will play really, really carefully, and you can use this advantage and have some mission or something like this points and still win by small, not 20. But I stopped this because it's too many anti-matchups, and especially in UK, it's cowboy meta. I don't know, maybe it's shifted now, but still cowboy meta. It doesn't work with this. And There's a lot of lists with breath weapons, especially like high elves with 4 breath weapons. Come on, I cannot play with this. You teleport, you have 4 breath weapons in your face, and you're dead on second turn. So I just stopped because too many anti-matchups. It still could work in team tournaments, but there is not a lot of team tournaments in UK.
No, that's true, actually. That's fair enough. I went to my first one last year and we got the wooden spoon. Though it was, as my wife says, it was still the best thing I've ever brought home from a tournament. Yeah. So, maybe you've already answered the question, but which is the list you'd most not like to play? Not necessarily the player, the list.
List I don't want to play from Masters.
Yeah, from Masters.
I didn't really read everyone, but I definitely don't want to play Reds. I just can't do anything against these 200 models plus with a lot of shooting with +1 to wound. I don't know what it is, but I know what it is. A lot of shooting. I will be dead on turn 3, so I just hoping for army swap and I will be happy. But I don't want to play against this. And I don't know, I bring Ticket Beasts just because of Tenka, just because of Wretched Ones, because I need something to meet Wretched Ones. Maybe it was mistake, but I think I can play with this. So I guess Worms, and I'm afraid of Josh's list, so it would depend who will have turn 1, I guess, so as always.
Okay. So
I
that'll
say
be
we
an
roll it
interesting
off, and whoever gets the first turn gets a 12-8 there.
Yeah.
See, Josh, we've done that before. I mean, I won the roll off for sides and you cheered. I remember doing that before.
Yeah.
And yeah, it ended 10-10, so there's always a chance. Just as long as he doesn't roll to hit and never hits anything, it's perfectly fine. So handing over to Dan and Josh. So Dan first. What do you think of Artem's list? What do you like? What you would question? But ahead.
What I like, I know I listened to one of the other podcasts, and I know the Thicket Shepherd with the Thicket Beasts kind of got panned, but they were actually like super awesome for me at the Masters. They were just an absolute anvil of like that nobody could get through, and you generally tie anything up and then countercharge with much stuff that kind of. It was what a lot of my tactic was built around in Masters. So I like that. I don't think it's as bad as what people were making out. What I don't like, I don't know. Like maybe I wouldn't say I'm particularly sold on the dragon with that build, because I feel like it's a little bit of like. No, I feel like it's a little bit of like in between both, but. Like whether you want like a melee threat or a shooting threat, but it's not particularly scary for either for the points. But like I say, I don't know. I like the list in general. Yeah, but I would say that definitely the Thicket Shepherd and the Beast have had a bit of a hard ride, and they do work. I think they do a lot of work. They give us something that we haven't got otherwise. I think in Selden's list.
I agree. The only reason I take Blade Dancers over Thickets is I've got better painted models, and I haven't got
I haven't got any models for Blade Dancers, so I'm inexperienced with them. I couldn't comment.
So
honestly, I don't really like this list anymore because I invented a better one, that was the day after the list submissions. So I changed my Secret Beast to Dancers because I think it would be better, but we'll see. And I'm really struggling. I'm trying to make this new druidism work, but it seems like it will not happen. But still trying. So I agree that Forest Prince on Dragon with bow, it's kind of waste of points because he has to fight, not to shoot. But this new bow is awesome, but you need a good
it is.
shooter for him. And this shooter cannot take a magical weapon if he has bow. So I need to make him quite good in close combat with shooting. So I'm trying this, and I don't know. It's debatable. I don't really think it's good, but I will try to make it good. Yeah.
What I will say about the Druidism in the Masters is the same with the Thicket Beast and the Thicket Shepherd. What I found, obviously, I took Druidism, but it was the old Druidism back then, and that did complement that block amazingly. Obviously, with the plus toughness and the heals coming in, so pretty much it could hold up anything if you got the right spells on it. I'm not quite as sure how effective it'll be without those spells, but or at least worse versions, I would have said, of them spells. But yeah, that's the only. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I've used it. I've used the new Druidism. The one thing I would say is it's good for, like previously I used to run Briar Maidens with Master of Earth just to give a heal to a dragon on the flank. But actually, because of the range from terrain, it means my dragon survives more and I feel more confident. So that's something I'd say. But yeah, I'd be very interested to hear how it goes. Josh, what do you?
Well, I'm not usually a fan of Thicket Beasts just because I think new labs have quite a few ways to deal with them. And if people just, keep in mind they're going to have to be in combat with them for at least 2 turns, then it should be, you can usually chaff one of the counter charges up. But Druidism as well, I've looked at it once. I haven't played with it yet. I think it needs a very specific type of list to try and make it work, which I don't know if is even a good list. So I think it's lacking a bit. It's just a law, especially when double strength buff is available, and it just helps all our units quite a lot with their killing power. I do love the dragon. There's always a soft spot for a dragon in my heart, especially when the Titanic build has gone away. I was looking at this hoping it would be good, and it's disappointing to hear Artem say that it's a bit of a mixed bag from what he's used. So yeah, I was hoping the dragon would be good. That was something I was looking at as well. But yeah, I think it'll do well.
Yeah, I know. I will always play a dragon just because I like my model. So I'll tell you how it goes at Bristol after as well. See if it's improved at all. Maybe there's an update beforehand.
The dragon that I had in my list at Masters actually did really well. I understand why he's took the ball because they are really good. I just personally would have preferred to see some sort of enchant on to make him just a little bit scarier in combat, because I think you're more than likely going to be kind of marching him around and getting him in places to get combat. That's the only thing I would have changed personally, but we'll see. I mean, the bow is really good. I've only used it a couple of times, but it's just such an easy way to get a couple of wounds on something. It's really nice.
No, agreed. Right. Thank you very much, Artem. Now we'll go to the final player just for a quick run through, and then we'll go through some random questions. So, Josh.
Hello.
This is your second Masters?
Yeah, my first Masters I came dead last, so it can only go up from here, right?
Well, like Artem, which competitions didn't you go to this year?
I don't think I went to Scotland, and that might have been it.
Okay. Right, so...
I didn't go to Frome either.
What, the one day the weekend one that was this year?
Yeah.
It was 9 players or 10 players, something like this. I was there.
I couldn't make it either, and I live 40 minutes away, so I'm probably bigger slap on the wrist than anyone. So Josh, just a bit of a recap. When do you start playing? Do you play any other armies? Question mark.
Well, I've played other armies in the past. When I first started in 7th edition, I used to play dwarfs. It was my first time. I played them for a very long time. And I moved on to KOE for a bit. And then it went on to Sylvan-Elves, and that's where my love affair began.
Did the beard come with the dwarves or after the dwarves?
I wasn't old enough to grow a beard at that time.
I wouldn't blame. I still can't grow a beard, so it's okay.
But yeah, it does match thematically. But no, the beard has just been here because I'm too lazy to shave.
No, okay. I didn't know you had played other armies. Is it just Sylvan Elves? You just like the movement, or what is it about them that?
I think it's just the movement. They play the game in a very different way to most armies. Like if you're going from Sylvan Elves to play a Empire army, it's just completely, one's playing chess and others playing checkers. But it's another complicated game. It's just different.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't really got bored of them.
Have you had a favourite tournament this year? And why?
Was mostly Breakthrough, Mikey's tournament.
Okay.
That's just because I podiumed on it.
Okay, fair one. Is that your only podium of the year?
Of this year, yeah. I've got a lot of basically like top 5s and 10s throughout the year.
Have you ever come top of a tournament?
I've actually never won a tournament. I think Sylvan Elves hasn't won a tournament in England for like 3 years. Well, actually, no, that's a lie because Dan Minto did it.
I was about to say, yeah.
That was technically Scotland, not England. So
No, that's true, yeah. I said that's something. If someone can put on the Masters forum, when was the last time Sylvan Elves won a tournament? I can't. I'm not very knowledgeable, but I can't remember.
it's funny that's when I picked up the Sylvan Elves. I only picked up the trees because, like I said, they were easy to paint, and I had easy access to a lot of dryads and stuff. And when I took them to Masters in March, I think everyone was saying Sylvan Elves were one of the worst, or at least a really poor choice to win to try and get anywhere with. But later in the year, it seemed like then they sort of switched. I don't know what happened between if someone stumbled across a really strong build with the Sylvans, but they seemed to become almost like the filth, or at least one of the stronger armies in ninth.
Yeah, the army book got a 20% discount across the whole board, like 10 to 20. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that works.
How many wild
So what was
huntsmen
that?
can I fit in
Middle
this
of the
list?
year?
Yeah,
that was around
February. Yeah,
Feb-ish.
it was just before Art of War, because I remember everyone going, "Can we use this list and these rules instead of this?" Or because we had to submit the list, and then the next day or the weekend after, it was a couple of days, the updates came out across the board, and it was like, well, if only Sylvan Elves could get to take this. But yeah, no, I realised last year my hopes of actually ever even getting near best in race were completely destroyed by the sheer number of people that came to every tournament. So yeah, no, completely agree. So Josh, you've said your favourite tournament. What about your favourite game, or something you've most enjoyed, or it's been most critical throughout the year? Something is really memorable.
I think just after ETC, using the Wild Hunter list has just been quite a lot of fun for me, not my opponents, but it's something I saw at ETC, and it's on the forum, and it's just a lot of fun to use, and it's gonna be sad when it goes away in February.
Do you think it will? I mean,
I
this
think
was the
it'll
time
get
to do it.
Yeah, it'll get a lot more expensive, but
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a bit of feedback from my headphones.
I think it's coming from Artem.
Sorry?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, stop now. We're all good. Doesn't matter. Okay. I will. Yeah. No, I think it will survive. I've got confidence, mainly because I don't play Wild Huntsman that much, so I think it will be okay. But so on your list now, Artem, what do you think of Josh's list?
Well, it's awesome idea with new teleport when you don't need to go out of. Is it this list, right? Yeah, you don't need to go out. So when I saw this on New Year's Revolution, I guess pretty similar list Josh have. It was before you published Masters list. I was like, I really liked the idea. I want to try it, and I think it's cool list. I like it.
I agree. I really like it. I think it's very Josh Burns. I saw this list and I wasn't surprised by much that was in there. So, Dan, what do you think of the list?
I like it, man. I wish I had a lot more elf models so I could run something of similar ilk, but I'm very inexperienced with most of the units he's got, so I couldn't really say how good or bad they are. But I do like the full elf lists. It's really nice.
Oh, I do as well. I think the only question that was picked up was just the Blade Dancers, especially by Craig the other day. So I think that's possibly one.
That's because Craig doesn't know what we can do. He's not a believer in Blade Dancers, which is fine. He's your own, but
I think what I would say about Josh's list is that it looks, out of the three of us, it looks the most one that could either be 20'd or win 20, with all them squishy elves running around. If you maybe get up against the wrong matchup with, I don't know if there's anybody got like Pyro and that sort of stuff going on, I guess there's a lot of nice juicy targets for that sort of thing compared to maybe mine and Artem's list. But it's again, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, sorry, Artem, go.
I really think that it's a mistake to think that Pyro is bad matchup for this list. It's pretty okay. It would be in combat on turn 2, and Pyro will do nothing. So I think it's quite okay against Pyro, but any auto hits, any breath weapons, any like shooting on 0+, it's killing for this one.
No, fair one. So on that note, Josh, have you looked at the list? And if so, which is the one that you most looked at? Not necessarily who's running it, but which list is the one you looked at and went, nope, I'd rather not have that one.
Kieran's for Vermin Swarm. I looked at that and I was like, there's so much shooting, and but I could just, I'm dead in 2 turns if he gets in range without me like picking anything off. It's that just unholy. But for the army swap, I wouldn't want to play the Saurians just because I have no idea what they do.
Yeah, no, I think if it was blocky, I'd have a chance, but it's sort of a bit mixed arms, cloudy, all over the shop. Yeah, I agree. You'd have to spend the night reading the book just to actually even understand which bits go where.
That's my Friday evening.
No, fair one. So I'm just going on to this now. So going on to the final bit before the bit of a fun round is, where are you all aiming to be? What's your aim, or have you got an objective at things? So firstly, Dan, what's your objective with the Masters?
Not finish last, I guess. Like if I could push myself towards the middle somewhere, I'll be more than happy with that, I think.
No, fair one. Do you think of anyone do you have a person who you want to win the Masters or think will win the Masters?
I don't know much about a lot of the lists, but I'm just going off what other people are saying. Everyone seems to be absolutely terrified of this Vermin Swarm list, so it seems like a good shout that there's obviously something bad in there if everyone's saying the same thing. So,
no, fair one. Yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah, Artem, what would you like to achieve?
Well, for every tournament I attend, my main achievement is like more than 50 points, so more than average. It's quite okay. Of course, I want to win, but I don't think I will win this one. Not with this list, not with this army, not against Vermin Swaps.
So that's either what you think or a really good deception. Do you agree with Dan? Is the Vermin, because you said that earlier, is the Vermin list the one you absolutely you think has got the most chance of winning this?
I don't know. I just don't know that I cannot play against it, and I didn't really look quite close to another lists. But I think, yeah, Vermins are really cool right now. I hope that will be nerfed in February because this shooting is awesome. But for now, it is awesome, and why not use it? I think it's good chances to win. Don't even know where is a bad matchup. Maybe some list with focused spells, but I didn't see some this kind of lists to focus general, of course. So I guess yes.
Okay. And Josh, same questions to you.
What was the questions again?
What would you like to achieve, or where would you like to come, and who do you think is going to win?
Okay. I'd definitely like to not come last again. Like 50 plus points would be great. Just to be average. It's always the aim. For winner, I'd mostly say, even though I think the Vermin Swarm is really scary for me, and for most of the field, I think Tanker's got the most chance of winning, just because I think his list is actually good against it, with the wretched ones and all that.
And he is on form this year, like he's.
And he's playing well, and he's used that list a lot, and he knows what he's doing with it.
Yeah, no, fair one. So no, that's a fair one. Right, now for a bit of a funny one, and it's a bit un-9th age related. So I want to know, what do you think your spirit animal is? If you had to be one, what would it be and why? So, for instance, I think I would be a golden retriever. I like to please people. I like to run around. I've got a short attention span, not much up there in terms of intelligence, for instance. So, Dan, what would you be and why?
I think I'd probably be like a snake. I think
Okay.
because they're quite lazy and laid back, just kind of sit around, which is kind of what I do a lot of the time. And they like to eat big meals, which I also like to do.
Can't discount that. I should just phrase it. So I'm married to a veterinarian surgeon, so it's quite animal related in this house. They take priority over many things.
Yeah, I've got a couple of exotics upstairs myself.
Cool. Artem?
It's really hard questions. I never think about it. I guess cat.
Okay.
House cat.
No, fair one.
Yeah, I cannot explain it.
No, I can understand that.
It's just a feeling you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Josh, what about you?
I'd mostly be a boxer dog,
Okay.
just because I've always had them as like a young kid, and I just love boxers.
No, fair one. Cool. No, right. Thank you very much, guys. I wish you the best of luck. I would love to see a Sylvanov player lift the Masters title. So good luck to you all. Good luck to everyone who's going to the Masters this weekend. Good luck to everyone who's supporting as well. Apologies I can't be there in person. And good luck to everyone in the Masters Open as well, which would normally be my field of where I'd swim. So thank you and goodbye from me. And thank you, Artem.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dan.
Thank you.
And thank you, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Right. Have a good one. That is the end of AAA Wargaming.